This pianist liked to pretend to be blind when performing at people's homes. Because they were unguarded, many clients would undress in front of him, exposing themselves completely. Over time, Jack became addicted to this deception. To appear more convincing as a blind person, he practiced at home wearing an eye mask. Yet he never imagined that pretending to be blind would become his greatest regret. One day, he went as usual to perform for a wealthy man's wife's birthday celebration. However, when she opened the door, the woman seemed reluctant to let him in, claiming he might have gotten the time wrong. But Jack had already received a deposit from the wealthy man, with a substantial final payment promised after the performance. He certainly couldn't have made a mistake. As they argued, their voices attracted the attention of an elderly neighbor. Not wanting to draw the neighbor's attention, the woman had no choice but to let him in. After confirming Jack was indeed blind, she finally felt comfortable letting him play the piano. However, he had barely started playing when he was startled by the scene before him. There in the living room lay a dead body. He finally understood why the woman didn't want to let him in. But at this moment, Jack couldn't show any sign of nervousness, so he made an excuse to use the bathroom. To maintain his blind persona, Jack deliberately stepped in the pool of blood. He thought reaching the bathroom would help calm his nerves, but what awaited was even more terrifying. The killer was hiding behind him with a gun. Jack's heart leaped into his throat, fearing he would be silenced if his deception was discovered. Fortunately, he actually needed to urinate, which didn't raise the killer's suspicion. When Jack passed through the living room after using the bathroom, he realized the victim was none other than the wealthy man who had hired him. Though Jack was terrified inside, he had no choice but to maintain his composure and continue playing. Meanwhile, the woman was pretending to call her wealthy husband, saying he would be home in 5 minutes. Then right in front of Jack, they brazenly disposed of the wealthy man's body. Before long, the man had stuffed the body into a suitcase, preparing to drag it away to destroy the evidence. To prevent Jack from becoming suspicious, the woman deliberately went to the door, pretending to welcome her husband home. She then played a recording of her husband's voice to fake a conversation. After just a few exchanges, she made an excuse that her husband had to leave for an urgent matter. At the same time, the man took advantage of the moment to put on the wealthy man's clothes and walked out the door dragging the suitcase. After finishing his performance, Jack quickly fled the scene and rushed to the police station to report the murder. But to his utter shock, the killer turned out to be the police chief. Thinking quickly, Jack hastily explained that his cat had been killed. But the police chief clearly didn't believe this explanation. Having just killed the wealthy man, and now the only blind person at the scene coming to report a crime, he couldn't help but suspect this blind man was faking. To verify his suspicion, the police chief decided to drive Jack home personally. Sure enough, upon entering Jack's house, he discovered today's newspaper sitting on Jack's table.
आज का न्यूज़पेपर कौन पढ़ता है यहाँ?